Hello everyone, today we are on the production line of the Apollo Pro. So we thought it would be cool to give you a sneak peek of how we assemble it, all the different assembly stations. So we're gonna start from the handlebar, then see the suspension, the main body assembly, and you're gonna see the final unit all assembled. So let's check it out. This is all empty because it's gonna be the packaging area, and all the assemblies is happening on the right. So if we start here, you can see all the decks of the scooters. Here we have our beautiful IoT, and this is one step before we do the laser engraving, which look like this. This is with all the signatures of the people that work on the Pro, and the grip tape is gonna go over it, so you'll never see it. But if you do peel the grip tape, you'll see it. So it's a little Easter egg that we decided to add. This is the office of our QC manager. He's reviewing the documentation for the Pro. Another interesting thing is the gasket that we put all around it. Again, this is for water sealing to keep our IP66 rating, so very important. Here is the first step of the assembly, is putting the throttle, the grip handle, the brake handle, all on the handlebar, and because our wires are inside, you need to route them inside. So it looks like this. It's also going to put the turning signal at the end, so after this step, everything is pretty much ready to pass to the next step. For the next step, they're adding gasket a little bit everywhere just to make it even more waterproof. This is a manual process, but we have gasket that we're gonna show you that looks like those here. That's gonna go over and cover the whole thing. So again, to keep the IP66. Once this is done, they place it here, and that's gonna be waiting for the next step in the... You can see that on every station, we have the SOP, which is a standard operating procedure. And this is showing them step by step what to do, the torque, the QC that they need to do for each assembly. So there's no way it can go wrong. You even have the color of the Loctite you need to apply. Here they're doing the testing of just if everything works well. After that, they're gonna connect it into a rig. Just to make sure that the electric signals are all good with the display, with the quad lock, the wireless charging. And you can see this one, they don't have the wireless charging yet, because we're still waiting for them. So for now, we just put a nice little plate with a seal around it. Here is one of the chrome sample we made just for fun. We're gonna show you the whole scooter after that, but you can see it's gonna be beautiful. You can see she's testing the features. So brake signal, the turning signal. Now the throttle, the regen, the turning signal, and the speaker. So like this, we test that every function work, and we're gonna test again in the final QC once the whole scooter is assembled. But this is just to catch early on if a component is defective on the PCB of the handlebar. Then we have the folding mechanism assembly and the folding latch assembly. You can see there's quite a bit of part. There's the shaft, there's the latch, there's the little button, there's mechanism with springs inside, so it's quite a complex assembly. Now they're doing the chrome. Again, look at this beautiful stem and latch here. It's really gonna be a sexy scooter. And once this is done, they put it here on this rig. And those are all the ones that are QC'd and has been checked. Again, this is the best folding mechanism we ever did so far. So you do this, you have the first safety like this, and then beautiful, and it's locked in place with that beautiful button. Here we have all the fenders of the scooter. Those are all pre-assembled. We did them yesterday. So you have the bracket assembled, locked tight with the inner bolt inside, and it looked like this. They were all QC'd already. Again, it's a beautiful fender. And the reason why we have a hole on the bracket is to be able to pass the tool when we assemble them. And it's gonna be covered by a little rubber cap.
Years of experience left with this inside.
Here is some samples that are waiting to be assembled, and we want to QC a little thing before we close them. Here we have a couple samples that we made this morning. You can see the chrome body, super sexy. Look at this. So here we're assembling the direction of the scooter. We are putting the direction shaft, which is this part, into this part here. It's quite a complicated process as we need hydraulic press to do it. So you can see the tolerance are so high, you need extreme force to put one into the other. And we remove it like this. Then look how thick the direction shaft is here. Very, very thick. Though this is massive, and this is solid steel. It's overkill, but again, the whole scooter is overkill. We assemble the front wheel on the forks here. We do the front and the back. This is the front one, and you can see it's gonna put the motor, put the wires that is routed into the forks, and with the quick connectors, connect this. Again, this is for easy maintenance if you want to change a tire or change a motor. And it's also here that they're gonna take the spring. Looks like this. This is our D&M suspension with our beautiful orange spring, adjustable hydraulic dampener here. They're gonna take the spring, put it on the fork, put the tire, and this is what it looked like when it's assembled. So you have the complete assembly, and we installed the bearing here as well. Those are Japanese bearing, the best of the best. The massive piece that you see here on the direction, this is just a stopper for the direction. This is also way overkill. Usually it's one little screw. We went with a solid aluminum block, 4 bolts, and it's blocking inside the neck. So this is the best mechanism we've done so far. The next step after that is taking the forks and putting it on the body. So before we install the fork on the body, we need to do a couple things on the body itself. They're gonna take it, inspect it. They're gonna put the kickstand, then the controller, then the battery, and then they're gonna put everything together with the fork, the rear one, and then the front one. So we gotta start with the body. At this point, they're just inspecting it. Then this guy passes it to this gentleman, and they're putting the inner padding for the battery. So we have a foam padding at the bottom, and we are adding them on the side just to make sure that the battery won't move. And on top of that, we're adding bracket on the battery, so there's no rattle. It's protected against scratches for the battery, and it just looks better when you look at it. Everything is refined. At this step, we're gonna install the controller. Then we put the black bracket that you see, and lastly, the light box on top of it. So you can see how neat everything is. You have all the connectors for the motor and the COM cable on this side. You have the other motors here, the light box, the battery, and the front motor sensor here. This is the second step of it. At this point, there's only the controller installed. Again, beautiful, and the kickstand's gonna go around it. After installing the controller, flipping it over, and the kickstand is quite a sophisticated piece on itself. It's already assembled now. So all the inner mechanisms with the spring, so you just need to put the screws, and that's it. Very simple. For you customers, if you want to replace it, it's gonna be a question of minutes. Again, all those screws are already Loctite. You can see the blue on the screws. And this is just to prevent any assembly mistake, or worker forgetting to add it. So we put it on every screws in the process. And the screws itself are all 12.9 graded zinc bladed. So that's the best of the best. Then you take the frame, put it on this rig, and it is gonna be waiting to install the rear suspension on it and the front forks as well. So we're gonna start with the rear suspension. They're adding the rubber block at the back that you see here, then the suspension, then the motors, and they're gonna tighten everything. Now they install the rear motor, they are flipping it over. They're gonna route the wire of the motor inside the fork, and they're gonna be adding a cover over it to be as clean as possible. They're connecting the wire with the easy plug. They're now routing the wire inside the fork, and they're gonna be adding a small cover over it. So you can see every wire on the scooter is becoming invisible. When you do this in design, the main thing that come to mind is, well, it's gonna be really hard to replace if something breaks. Again, the wire connector is outside, so as a customer, you will never have to open this. Then they take the frame, and they're gonna add the front suspension with the bearing and do the whole assembly. So that's what they're doing now. They're putting grease over it. Again, NSK bearing, the best of the best. Adding the grease. And you see a lot of wires all around. It's because we need to pass the wires of the front motor inside the front direction, and then inside the neck, and route it inside the body. So it's not easy to do. Again, that's why we added connectors everywhere. So for you customers, you never have to do this. But for the assembly workers, it's quite a task to do. The next step is to finish the routing of the wires and add the battery pack inside. So here you can see it's passing all the wires inside rubber plug that's going to be added on the neck here. Again, even if the water was to go inside the body, we have rubber plug that's going to prevent it from going further inside. So those plugs are going to be added here in the neck of the hole. Once you install all the rubber plug, those guys are going to take the battery here and they're going to install it inside the body. Once all of this is done, well, you are ending up with this part here. So it's all open and they're going to take that and they're going to put it on the other side of the rig, install the stem and do the final check. So we're going to end up by closing the body with the plate that we showed you at the beginning. The stem and the handlebar are super easy to assemble. We're going to test QC and then we're going to go to the packaging area that we're going to show you in another video.